Alright, we're here with some Cobalt Core gameplay. Lately I've been trying a lot of builds without rigs, so I will not be playing rigs in this one. We're going to be doing Peri, Drake, and Dizzy. And one thing I've started to like doing with this particular team is my first upgrade is going to be a block shot B. So we take block shot B here, and then we'll see just how good I think this card is later in the run. I think that I really underrated this card at first, and it's definitely essential if you're playing without rigs, because you really need to be able to block, because you're not going to have the evade available. So the cicada fight goes pretty normal. We don't take any damage. Refresh interval, I like it. Again, because I think just temporary shield is pretty good with this team. You really need a way to block all the incoming damage that you're not going to be able to move out of the way of. And refresh interval gives us a little bit more of that. And then just deciding between feint and deflection. They both do give shield, which is definitely what we're after. But I do end up taking the deflection there. Just gonna use Grandma's trash can to get rid of a basic attack here. We really want to draw our shield cards as much as possible. And with the Peri Drake combination, we're definitely gonna get some better attacks down the road. And you can see already just how much temporary shield we're getting on each turn. There is not much in the early game that we're gonna have to worry about with this much shielding in the deck. Well, they're almost dead, but we didn't quite get there. And now they're dead. Oh, we have a mitosis? Mitosis, my beloved? Power play, EMP. Definitely grabbing that mitosis. Just another way to get even more shield. And then fracture detection is a great way to score a lot of extra damage, especially with Drake and Peri, because you can do tons of damage with these characters, and you need to kill very quickly, because this build is not good for prolonged engagements. Especially on the last fight where, you know, generating 6, 7, 8 temporary shield is not gonna carry us through the fight. Definitely take some damage on this jumbo fight, unfortunately. And then kind of in a position here where we're gonna take some more damage. I realized after that I probably could have killed by just moving over and then using both my attacks there, but I missed it at the time. Grab a seer, does a ton of damage, and that's what we're all about. Really want every card in the deck to either block or do more damage than average. There's no way I'm giving up my Jettison Hatch, so we gotta fight Drake Bot 2 here. Looks like we can just start by setting up. We can block the 3 damage. You can really see the difficulty with this particular team. There's just no movement. You gotta get a little bit lucky with the attacks that are gonna be aimed at you, and you gotta find some way to shield it all, which is why I'm taking as much shield as possible and as much damage as possible. So that even if I do take a little damage in each fight, I can still kill everything quickly enough that it's possible to survive. Blink and you miss it on that one. I take this multi-stun because I'm thinking there are a lot of cards in Drake and Peri's library that can add damage to all of your cards, and multi-stun is pretty good even without that. And then I also grabbed the multi-stun upgrade A just to add an extra hit. So this is a great way to shut off enemy attacks that are incoming, so another way to get rid of enemy damage, and also going to be counting on grabbing an upgrade later in the run to make it even better. Look at all that temp shield. This is maybe the fight where this composition shines the best, is because we just get so much temp shield and EMP. It's just, it cannot hurt us. We cannot be hurt. And then there you can see the multi-stun working well with the damage upgrade that we have. And then this is a pretty scary situation, but we've got enough damage to kill them. And then we heal back up to full. Now we have a pick between Pillage and Plunder, which lets us gain more max hull. And we also have Freeze Dry, which is a nice card in some encounters. It keeps the opponent from moving for a turn. And then Inverter, which turns your shield into overdrive. Not really too interested in spending a turn on that. Especially getting rid of shields, kind of the opposite of what we want. We'll grab the Pillage and Plunder. It's a nice damaging card that also allows us to build up our max hull. And there is a very good reason to build up max hull in this game, which is a card called From Hell's Heart. From Hell's Heart is better the more hull you have. So using Pillage and Plunder is a great way to get more hull for the end game. As you can see here, we have plenty of temporary shield again. Nothing to worry about in this fight, really. And here we get our first Pillage and Plunder kill, so we get one more max hull for later in the game. Now we have a shot at another multi-stun here, but I take the Heat Wave A. This is another great way to get more damage on the cards that we already have, especially the multi-attack cards. Once again, block shot. That 3 temporary shield is just... who needs to dodge when you have that much block? Fight with Spike Jr. is just like all the others. We're getting plenty of shield. Not really taking any damage. Nothing to worry about. Alright, now we have the choice between Converter, Volatile Vapor, and Combustion Engine. Don't really need any of those. Now it's time to upgrade Pillage and Plunder to give it Piercing. Having a lot of Piercing in this game is quite strong. It lets us ignore the enemy shields with our attacks. So here we have Heat Wave and Sear. Combination just does a ton of damage. It's kind of funny that we pierce through their shields and also damage their shields on the same turn. And then unfortunately we are taking some damage here. This is a fight where it's really hard to get out of the way because they will lock your ship from moving. So we're really relying on drawing enough of our shields to make it through this fight. Alright, but we get the kill, no problem. We have another chance at another block shot here, and you all know how much I love block shots, so we're definitely taking that. Alright, then we matched up against the Crystalline Offshoot. Once again, we have Heat Wave and Sear, do a ton of damage. Mitosis, block shot, we have so much shield, there's nothing, we can even move in front of all their attacks, it doesn't even matter. Pretty good spot for multi-stun. We don't have quite enough to Pillage and Plunder. We do want to use Pillage and Plunder as much as we can to get as much hull as possible. And then unfortunately, we're kind of in a weird spot here where we have to take some precautions, but again, we're able to make plenty of shields. It's not even an issue. And then here it is, From Hell's Heart has appeared in our selections. So this card lets you do as much damage as you have missing hull. This card is capable of doing a ton of damage. It's why you take Pillage and Plunder early on. It's a good combo, and then we'll see exactly how good that is, especially with Fracture Detection at the end of the run. And there's Fracture Detection really coming in clutch. We're just doing so much damage. Really want to get the kill with Pillage and Plunder as much as possible, so we're able to do that here. Oh, and here's Weaken Hull. This is a great way to do even more damage with the cards that we have. However, it does cost 3, so that's going to be a skip. It's just a little too expensive. All right, next up we have the Rogue Starnacle. Any fans of the Rogue Starnacle? Anyway, this fight is great because we have Fracture Detection, so it's got a brittle spot, and then whenever it's charging its laser, it's going to have 2 brittle spots. And you can see we're able to move right in front of that laser because we have so much block and not even take any damage. Not the best multi-stun of my career on that one. But we're able to block all the damage, so it's okay. That's the great thing about this game. If you don't take any damage on a turn, everything's fine. But speaking of taking damage on a turn, we gotta take some damage here, because again, movement is not what this ship does. Or not what this crew does. Here's from Hell's Heart to do 20 to them. Looking at EMP because it's a great way to take out the enemy shields, and we'll take that card. I'm a big fan of Photon Condenser because it increases Dizzy's attacks by 1 damage, and since we're so reliant on block shot, it's a great bonus to have because it'll make all of my block shots do an additional damage. Looking at upgrading a card here, thinking it's gotta be block shot. Block shot B is just so good. Alright, we made it to the Riggs fight. This is a fight where you really want to draw as much as your block as possible because you're going to need all of it. You can see we're starting off pretty strong on that front. Not much to worry about so far. Alright, so we have found the brittle spot on Riggs' ship. So we're going to target that as much as possible. And then again, we just have so much shields. We have taken some damage, but that's pretty much okay. Not too worried about it, and then it makes From Hell's Heart even better. So if we can line up From Hell's Heart with that brittle spot, that would be pretty great. But even if we can't, we're pretty close to winning already. Check the math, and we do have the kill. Okay, so we have a shot at Endless Magazine, Serenity, or another Pillage and Plunder. And we're going to grab that Endless Magazine, because that's a great card to set up early in the fight. And then we just get extra damage, especially with our fracture detection. And then we grab a Prototype 22, increase our shields even more. This is a great card that just gives you 1 extra shield each turn, which combos very well with Mitosis because it'll turn that 1 shield you get for free every single turn into 2 temp shield. Right off the bat, we find the brittle spot in this fight, so shouldn't be much of a challenge at all. And now here, Multi-Sun is going to do a ton of damage because between the Power Drive and the Dizzy artifact that gives us +1 damage, that card is just a incredible beater at this point. We almost get the kill, but again, we just have so much shield, there's nothing to worry about. Okay, we have a shot at an Overpower, which is another great damage up, but we already have so many ways to get damage ups for less than 2 cost. That really doesn't seem like it's very necessary. Just look at the amount of shielding that we have. It's actually possible to just move in front of all your opponent's attacks with this much shield and does not have to worry about it. This is the auto dodge fight, which I really hate, but you kind of have to pick your spot in this fight. You just sit around and wait for opportunities to attack and do damage. Also in this fight, I'm really thinking, what if the brittle spot, because this ship is only 3 parts wide, the brittle spot on this ship could very well be the one that's right across from us right now. So I could potentially Pillage and Plunder for a ton of damage, but it wouldn't quite kill, so I don't go for it. And because of that, we sure do take a lot of damage there, but we get the kill, no problem. Definitely nothing we need here from these 3 cards. And then heading into the shop, I'm going to get that From Hell's Heart B upgrade. I'm imagining a situation where we're just gonna one-shot the end boss. You just find the brittle spot and then From Hell's Heart and you get a ton of damage. So we're gonna call that Plan A for now. Well, it's crab time. It's really great in this fight if you are able to EMP the missiles, because this fight tends to drop a lot of drones, and blocking a drone from ever coming out is pretty great, especially when you know they're going to be bubbled. And then a miracle happens. So, we haven't found the brittle spot yet, and somehow, this Seer happens to hit the brittle spot, 6 damage twice, piercing, just completely obliterates this opponent. Now, Explosive Slug is a pretty good card, but we kind of have enough damage, and right afterwards we get a Piercer anyway. Now, Piercer is an artifact that lets you do piercing damage with your first attack each turn, which doesn't sound that impressive, but you have to remember that it's each turn, so pretty much 1 in 3 cards you play are going to have piercing, and that can really add up and kill an enemy very quickly. Now, looking at the Buried Relic fight, I have it in my head, what if the brittle spot was right there and they just die? But it didn't happen. One day we'll get that. Also, do those spots to the left and right of their cannons not look like faces to anyone else? Look at From Hell's Heart B. Attack damage equals 20. We go for multi-stun and found the brittle spot too. It's gonna be tough to move over there. It's gonna be tough to move all the way over to the brittle spot we just found, but luckily we draw a lunge, so no problem. Pretty satisfied with the deck at this point. Probably not really any cards that would be willing to pick up, especially right here at the end. And then in the final shop, just gonna remove a couple basic shots to make the deck even more consistent. Going into the last fight, we really have one goal. It's to find their brittle spot and hit it with From Hell's Heart B. And with Piercer, it's going to pierce if it's the first attack that turn. So From Hell's Heart B, 22 piercing times 2. It's a very explosive way to finish out a run. Something about this boss is that it always seems to line up its middle cannon with you every other turn. So having some ways to stun makes this fight a lot easier, as you can just stun that attack and then take the smaller attacks that are to the left and right of it. One of the added benefits of multi-stun is it hits 3 parts, which is a great way to look for brittle spots. And we were just able to find the brittle spot using it. So now we have everything we need. We have From Hell's Heart B. It's gonna pierce because it's our first attack this turn. And they are at less than 40 life, so they're dead. Probably one of the more satisfying ways to finish off a run in this game. I have been really impressed with the Dizzy Peri Drake combo. You can do so much damage and fights really quickly. With a block shot B or 2, you can really block a lot of the incoming damage that lets you live long enough to kill them. Generally, you don't really need this sort of fracture detection from Hell's Heart combination to win the fights or anything, but this is definitely one of the flashier runs I've had with this particular crew combination. And yeah, thank you all for joining me in this Cobalt Core run. I'll be doing more content like this, and I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have any comments or suggestions for any card combinations you may have seen that I didn't take, or any artifact combinations, just feel free to let me know in the comments below. And thank you again for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.